Right, dear, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. Now, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has held its non-elective special convention. That's a special national convention in Abuja.
Now, it's extended the tenure of the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee by 4 months until the former party executive is elected later in December.
Of course, the National Convention also dissolved the PDP state executives in 8 states. They are Adamawa, Borno, Lagos, Kebbi, Kwara, Osun, Ogun, and Anambra.
Well, TVC Sumner Sambo reports.
This special convention of the PDP is the first since its July 12 victory at the Supreme Court, where it survived a leadership crisis. Members of the party tagged it a Unity and Reconciliation Convention. It began with speeches delivered majorly by past public officials, who argued that the country fared better under their administration than the present situation. Members of the former ruling party sought forgiveness from Nigerians in all areas that they've erred.
We had a major natural disaster. Still, food prices were stable under the PDP. I was told that some people are insinuating that if PDP had stayed in power, the economy would have been worse off, and I laughed. We had a strong team that was managing the economy of this country.
We made mistakes. Our ability to correct that mistake is the one that is important. The PDP is now a religion. Yes.
We mean well. For our president, we continue to pray for his full recovery. We want him to be fit and unfit when we will defeat the APC government come 2019.
Members who assess the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee say they have full confidence in its ability to reorganize the party before the next general election, hence the extension of its tenure by 4 months.
Despite the intra-party challenges that have faced the PDP, members of the party still believe that it remains a credible alternative in the race for the 2019 presidency.
The party's interim legal advisor sheds light on all the 4 motions taken at the convention, including the sack of state executives in 8 states, namely Adamawa, Borno, Lagos, Kebbi, Kwara, Osun, Ogun, and Anambra.
And this special convention was to extend the tenure of the caretaker committee, of the National Caretaker Committee. And that is exactly what we did. And then subsequently other items were also taken. So we took like 4 motions. The second one was the dissolutions of parallel, inconclusive, and crisis-ridden congresses that were held in some states. Constitutional amendments will be taken at the next elective convention.
From the end of this convention, you are going to be seeing a new People's Democratic Party.
Chairman of the Special Convention Committee and Governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, at the end of the convention said the decisions reached during the exercise will help to strengthen the party before its elective convention in December, when fully elected national executives will emerge. Sumner Sambo, TVC News, Abuja.
The game is politics and the target is 2019.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Ayo Zumbaku, senior correspondent, political correspondent, is here to discuss this with us. And we expect to be joined by Sumner Sambo also, who will be joining us from our Abuja studio. Of course, he's already there. Good morning to you, Ayo.
Good morning, Gozi.
Good to have you on the show. Now, this non-elective convention or congress, you know, if you want to call it that, was tagged a unifying one and reconciliatory one. To what extent did it really achieve these 2 cardinal points?
Definitely the People's Democratic Party in the last 1.5 years has been through a lot. And if you don't forget that climax in the Supreme Court on the 12th of July.
Yes.
And that party was at the brink, you know, of, destruction, as in breakup.
Going into smithereens,
a lot of people that are celebrating today actually had a plan B. They went to go and register another political party, and that's going to be the option. They didn't believe that that Supreme Court judgment would go in their way. If you remember, Justice Abang at 2 occasions in the Lagos High Court had given a verdict that was against them, and the Court of Appeal too was actually against the Ahmed Makarfi faction, and so they were just expecting that if the Supreme Court should toe the line of the Court of Appeal, then it's a fait accompli. Already, most of its members have started moving to the APC, and some of them, like the likes of Doyin Okukwe, like the likes of Musili Obanikoro, before that verdict, they were already committed to another political party. So it was just like a celebration that before we do our elective convention, as their statute book says in the People's Democratic Party, let them go for this non-elective convention and being able to take critical decision. So it was like a celebration and show of strength for the People's Democratic Party.
Okay, let's join our correspondent now in Abuja, Sumner Sambo, who covered that non-elective convention of the PDP. Good morning to you, Sumner. Now, first off, tell us about the decision of the party to extend the tenure of the caretaker committee of the party.
Well, the decision of the Congress to actually extend the Ahmed Makarfi-led caretaker committee by, 4 months is as a result of, the fallout of the National Convention that held in Port Harcourt, where, that took place in August 2016. So they had to kind of like do this so as to beat the deadline of 1 year, because Ahmed Makarfi's leadership was extended by 1 year, and that 1 year is going to clock on August 16th, which is 2 days away. And as a result of that, they had to do this special national convention to ensure that the National Caretaker Committee is given more time to be able to reconcile party members, to be able to ensure that, credible persons are brought back into the party through its reconciliation efforts. And also, don't forget, it also inaugurated a disciplinary committee that's chaired by Chief Tommy Kimi, which is set to ensure that discipline is brought back into the party. And as a result of this, the measures that are being taken now to ensure that there is discipline in the party is what led to 8 state executives being dissolved, just like you mentioned earlier on. Now, all these efforts are to ensure that the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee drives the process and ensure that a credible leadership that can be trusted by all party faithful is elected in specifically December 9, when a national elective convention is to be held in Abuja, hopefully.
Of course, tell us about the general mood during this non-elective convention. About 5,000 or so delegates were on ground. Give us a sense of the excitement that really, went on the grounds of that convention.
Oh, well, it was a jolly period for all these PDP members who had been away due to the intra-party crisis between the Ahmed Makarfi-led, National Caretaker Committee and the then, Sheriff-led, leadership of the party. With all of this culminating in the July 12th Supreme Court judgment, party faithful who believe that the party should, assume the real figure of opposition in Nigerian politics were very happy. So they turned the Special National Convention into a carnival-like situation where they were all busy dancing around, enjoying themselves, and it was a nice time for those who had not met for a long period of time, especially political leaders who had been out of office, to meet again. And it was a time for party members to also see how they can forge alliances once again to ensure that the race for 2019, becomes, designed in such a way that Nigerians will know that they are prepared to come back to power. That's if they can win the elections. Now, don't forget also that some of them, some of the top party members had been facing anti-corruption, trials here and there. So most of them also used the opportunity to unite. And then, for example, people like Femi Fani-Kayode, they had to meet so many of, his colleagues that they had met at the EFCC cell earlier on. But it's an opportunity actually for them to be able to rebound, according to them. And then One of the most exciting moments of that convention was when the former president, President Goodluck Jonathan, climbed the stage and he had to reel out some of the achievements that he had during his tenure, saying that, yes, indeed, there were some mistakes that were made that he forgot. Well, not really forgetting. He said that they could not plug some of the loopholes that led to some of the corruption scandals that the country is being, bamboozled with at the moment. So, as it stands right now, you could see the remorse on his face, saying that, yes, they could have done better, but they have some challenges, and so they are appealing to Nigerians to please forgive them wherever they may have erred. But generally, it was an atmosphere of camaraderie, an atmosphere of, uniting all factions of the party, and then, of course, reconciliation. All
right. Thank you, Sumner. Stay on with us. We'll get back to you in a bit. Let's come back to you now, Ayo. Looking at the confidence the speakers at the convention exudes, you know that it seems the PDP has a winning formula now that no one knows of, judging from the way they are so confident that they will win in 2019, and then accepting the fault that they were wrong while in power.
It's as a result of the seeming lackluster performance of the All Progressive Congress. That is what is giving them, a ray of hope. That is what is giving them a kind of confidence that things weren't as bad as this when we're there. Yes, we might be corrupt. Yes, we might, our inability to block loopholes, according to Goodluck Jonathan, that might be a big problem. But the All Progressive Congress, they've not fared better. That they've not fared better in the last 2 years.
Do you think Nigeria really has a clear-cut choice now between the APC and the PDP that seems to be raring to go?
We are gradually drifting towards the two-party states. And the Nigerians will have to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea. And it's a very, very difficult call to make. The All Progressive Congress, as I'm talking to you, they've not been able to call any NEC meeting. They've not been able to call any of their convention. And they've been due to hold their convention. But because of the factions, because of the interest within the All Progressive Congress, and that is actually telling on that particular government. So the PDP, they are saying that, look, when we were there, it wasn't as bad as this. We had single-digit inflation, and we're able to manage it all through, but with the single-digit. Right now, what we are doing 16.4, and at the worst time, it was 17.6. And how can we have double-digit inflation, everything skyrocketing? It's as if...
And the country is in recession.
The country is in recession. It's as if the All Progressive Congress doesn't have a magical wine to stem this tide. And
and I'm wondering, when Adeyeye, the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, says Nigerians remember with nostalgia life under the PDP, and they are yearning for it to come back. I wonder, is that an exaggeration? Or
a big exaggeration. Okay. 16 years of the People's Democratic Party, 16 years of, a lot of leakages in the system, 16 years of corruption, 16 years of, that's the perception. And they have to shed that toga. Right now, one of the biggest corruption cases, scam in that particular political party is going on in the United Kingdom. And with the assistance of the US government, we've been hearing of houses of $35 million.
And yachts of $80 million yachts.
If the EFCC chairman is telling us that we ain't seen nothing yet about that particular case, that means we're in for a big trouble.
Okay. All right. Sumner, let's get back to you now. Tell us more about the 8 state executives dissolved at the event. And then, of course, the cancellation of Congress is held by some state parties as well. What is going to be the next phase now? What are they saying is going to happen next there?
Well, if you must have been following some of the stories emanating from the PDP National Secretariat, you, for example, will understand that the Anambra State Caretaker Committee, for example, was inaugurated during the week in preparation for, Saturday's Congress that they will be holding, primaries that they will be holding to elect a governorship candidate that will represent the party. Now, that is a precursor to other things that will be happening in the state executives that have been dissolved. They will be having state caretaker committees inaugurated for them. Don't forget, like Lagos, for example, had been, embroiled in crisis, and Ayo has been covering them for a longer period of time. Some of these party executives were loyal to the then sheriff-led PDP, especially after the Court of Appeal judgment that was in his favor. And as a result of that, when the Makarfi-led national executive now got this judgment, they had to kind of like look for ways to bring men that are loyal to their own ideas. So this is a test of loyalty, and as a result of that, since some of these persons have not been able to show that they are fully loyal with the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee, it's an opportunity for them to be dissolved, and then for, you know, new executives that are loyal to this NCC to be brought into place. And so that's what we hope to see eventually when these inaugurations take place. There will be temporary state caretaker committees before the formal conventions, and then, you know, congresses that will bring all of them. So one of the critical things that also happened is that, you know, some of the zonal congresses, like you said, were dissolved. Yes, this is because we've had instances where, you know, some of the Makarfi-led party loyals are saying that they have not been carried along, and some of the persons that emerge in those congresses are going to work against the interests of the party because they seem not to be, you know, pushing their loyalty to the Ahmed Makarfi-led National Caretaker Committee, which is the one that has the larger number of people who are loyal to the party. Because as I'm speaking with you right now, there's still a crisis in the party. Considering that there were about 5 court cases instituted against, you know, the National Caretaker Committee in the, you know, lead up to the convention. They wanted this convention to be cancelled due to some of the challenges that they say they have. And as a result of that, the party is saying that they are going to wield the big stick. So if you look at it, you find out that even the reconciliation efforts being put in place is not going to be easy, because even when I was speaking with Senator Ben Bruce, he told me that he was making every effort to ensure that people like Senator Buruji Kashamu and several others who feel very bad are brought into the party. And then you could also hear at the convention people like Chief Tom Mikimi, you know, saying that despite all these problems, that the reconciliation efforts will work, and that in his position as the chairman of the disciplinary committee, there's going to be a new lease of life. And then
so now
that you can see, despite their challenges, that they're even better than the APC.
All right, Samna, let me quickly butt in here. With the picture you've just painted now, Ifeanyi Okowa, the governor of Delta State and the chairman of this non-elective convention, said that high-profile members who had left the party would be returning anytime soon. With the way the PDP is now, do you think it's attractive enough for these high-profile members to actually begin to return to the party?
Well, the PDP has actually been making these efforts. Don't forget there are subterranean moves to bring the likes of the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and then former Governor of Kano State, Kwankwanso, and so many other bigwigs. But the thing is that leaving the All Progressives Congress at this time, it's not going to be easy for these guys, because the thing is that the APC is in power, and then the thing is that there are also issues of, you know, how they will be received if indeed they come. Because the thing is that they are also having feelers that the PDP is broke at the moment. So most of these top party officers of the PDP just want to use their money to run the national convention that will see a presidential candidate emerging. And that if they pump money into this party, when they eventually come, there's a likelihood that they may not get the ticket. So it's going to be a tough time for some of these top party defectors that went to the APC to come back to the PDP, because their chances are more under the APC. But that is also if the incumbent president is not going to contest, because if the incumbent president is going to contest, then that's where we may have a situation where
because
they may
of time,
want to
I'll have to thank you here. Thank you very much, Samna Sambo, for the analysis. Now, very brief now, quickly. Even Tommy Kimi, you know, boasted again that the APC doesn't have chances in 2019, like we've been saying earlier, that the party still doesn't have a board of trustees. So how can it stand in 2 years in power, yet the party does not have BOT?
That does not change the price of anything in the markets.
Not even the price
if the one we refer to as the super tanker indicates interests to run for presidency, believe you me, everybody will scamper for safety. No politician can stand shoulder to shoulder with Muhammadu Buhari right now in Nigeria. You can take that to the bank, shoulder to shoulder, in spite of the failings of the All Progressive Congress.
Despite the fact that he's still abroad?
Right now. that's a person to beat, so immediately indicates his interest to run for 2019. I think it's like a fait accompli.
And those high-profile people, you think you don't think they'll be making their way to the APC,
well,
to the PDP?
Lagos Publicity Secretary of the party said that he knows Atiku Abubakar is making plans anyway to go to the PDP. But let's see how true it's going to be. Thank you very much, Ayodele Ozumbaku, our senior political correspondent for the analysis.
Thank you so much. Of course.